Okay, this is now the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It looks like a CGI set of like ancient civilizations, but it's real.
I know I say this about nearly every place I have ever gone, but this was perhaps one of the coolest things I have ever seen in my life. Perhaps because I didn't know this place even existed until that afternoon, because I do an alarmingly little amount of research before I drive somewhere. Or because of the sheer incredible ingenuity of people and their ability to survive. Either way, if you are ever near Flagstaff, Arizona, well, you know the drill. Welcome to Walnut Canyon. Walnut Canyon runs 20 miles long, a quarter mile across, and 400 feet deep, and was carved over many years by Walnut Creek eroding away the soft layers of the earth. The limestone layers were especially soft and have eroded away more than the other layers. This has created natural alcoves on the canyon walls. When early people came to the canyon and saw the natural alcoves, they saw a perfect opportunity to build homes right in the canyon walls, and they got to work. The year was 1100 AD, and Sunset Crater had just shook the earth and erupted, causing people dwelling in the area to scatter. Some people went north in search for livable land, and that is Wupakti National Monument that we saw last week. And then others went south, to this canyon carved by a creek, to find a home. These conditions were perfect for a home. The mud rock walls insulated the home from the cold and the wind. The overhanging layer protected them from precipitation and runoff, and a little community was formed with their own set of rules and practices. Water was collected at the base of the canyon, and crops were farmed on the top of the rim of the canyon to provide for this small community. Water was and is a scarcity in this dry Arizona climate, making settling in this canyon a desirable place to be. Snowmelt provided water for the creek to run through the canyon seasonally, and seeps and springs provided water in the drier months. So from the years 1100 to 1250 AD, a small community thrived here.
This place is absolutely crazy. I just can't get over how they built them in the middle of these canyons, and how did they get there? And they lived there because it's good protection, but wow, humans are incredible.
Many of the homes have been stabilized and are now safe to explore and walk through, as long as you don't touch the walls. Oils on your skin can be damaging to the walls, especially if every single visitor decided to touch it. So do what they teach you in kindergarten and keep your hands to yourself. Exploring these homes was incredible though. I am 5 feet 9 inches tall and was able to stand upright in most of the homes, just barely. I had an inch or two of clearance left. You can see the blackened stone stain from the smoke of fires that were lit in the homes. Most of the smoke was able to escape through the doors, which were presumably made of animal skin at the time. It's easy to picture what life must have been like living here.
This is so cool. Wow. Just look at that. That would stink if you were friends with somebody who lived across the canyon. Had a long walk to get there. I wonder if they had bridges. This is crazy. This is some prime undeveloped real estate right here.
Early people even built trails with switchbacks leading to the top of the canyon so crops could be harvested and brought down to the homes. And as families grew, homes were extended to add more rooms. You can even see homes in different layers all across the canyon.
I cannot believe people lived here. This is incredible.
The Island Trail, which is the one I was doing today, provides an up-close view of 25 of the homes in the canyon, but you could see so many more if you take a look around.
No, seriously, this is definitely the coolest thing I've ever done.
As I was walking through this other world, part of me wondered if there was a social hierarchy based on the layer you lived on. Was the higher level a symbol of status in the community? Kind of how the rich people in Wupakti built mansions on hills? Or were people less petty here and totally cooperated and worked together to survive? I know, I'm funny. People probably were like, poor Susan, she married Richard who lives on tier 3. She really dropped a few levels. And then Susan would get all defensive and say, oh yeah? At least I don't have to walk far for water. Alright, I'm done speculating on ancient gossip now. Now, why would people leave such a perfect spot? For the same reason people have always moved on. Number 1, a dry spell hit the canyon and people were in need of water. Number 2, ideas changed. South of Walnut Canyon, groups of people were migrating because of new religious ideas, beliefs, and practices. This is why people left Wupakti and Walnut Canyon and migrated south. To find and form new community and spread new ideas. Something humans have always done. And yeah, the water thing too. People really like water. Fast forwarding a little bit, in the 1880s a railroad was constructed near the area, making this place accessible to people from all over the country. As a result, people do what people have always done. They came and pillaged the canyon in search for wealth or artifacts of any value. They brought shovels and dynamite to dig through the remnants of the homes left behind, destroying much of it in the process. It wasn't until 1915 that President Woodrow Wilson protected this land as a national monument that the remaining history was finally preserved. You can see where ancient walls were destroyed or knocked down, but luckily there's still some areas well preserved and standing today, with a little bit of help. But the human interference doesn't end there. In the early 1900s, the city of Flagstaff built a dam around Walnut Creek, which once flowed through the canyon, to collect its water supply for the nearby city. The seasonal water that normally flowed through the canyon was drastically reduced and affected the types of plants and animals that were able to survive in the canyon they called home for hundreds of years. In 1941, a second dam was built, and Walnut Creek dried up and stopped flowing altogether. Now the canyon has only seen water flow 3 times since then, during extreme weather conditions. It has now been 80 years that Walnut Canyon has to receive its regular seasonal water flow, as water is now collected in lakes held upstream of the monument. This has altered the canyon's ecosystem entirely. Larger animals in need of more water have had to leave the canyon, and only more adapted animals remain that could survive on a little water provided by the seeps and springs in the canyon. Vegetation has also been impacted. The Arizona walnut trees that the canyon was named after have been decreasing in numbers due to the change in water flow. Restoration of the canyon relies on the city of Flagstaff's ability and availability to release some of the seasonal water through the canyon. I suppose there will always be a war between preservation and progress. A city full of people needs a lot of water, and that has to come from somewhere. The livelihood of people depend on it, and of course you don't want to see your fellow human suffer. But you can't help but wonder if it's possible on a grand scale to live with the land rather than to alter it like people that have done before us. I don't have the answer, but it's visits like this that make me think what's really possible if we put our minds and efforts into something.
I think I'm in love. This place is magical and perfect, and I met a really nice national park guy. So great. If you are ever in Arizona, you are now legally obligated to come to Walnut Canyon because that was incredible.
And then I got a taste of the seasonal snowfall that happens in the area. I just assumed Arizona meant cacti and desert, so I was not expecting snow. Naive of me? Yes. But you live, you learn, and you try not to get stuck in snowstorms in Arizona again.
Apparently it's supposed to snow tonight here in Arizona. Did not know that. Leave it to me to get stuck in the middle of a snow in Arizona. Oh, Angie. When I checked the weather, it wasn't supposed to precipitate. Now we got snow.
We got another one.
I'm not gonna lie, I was actually really cold last night. I woke up at like 2 a.m. It was really cold. I was up for a couple hours, but then I fell back asleep because I made a warm cocoon. But yeah, that was a rough one. Our life in the winter's no joke. And I'm in Arizona too, so like how far south can I go? Anyways, we're gonna get going today after a really warm long shower at the Planet Fitness. I'm living the dream. I really am. I'm not even being sarcastic. All right, let's get going.